Cool C, the rapper turned criminal. A common story, but this one is different from anything else you done heard. Cool C, rapper from Philly, born 1969, but ain't start popping till the late 1980s. But throughout his time in high school, he met someone who was gonna play a big part in his life, Steady B. The two was like brothers. They was locked in since the day they met. But the thing about Steady B, he was already in grind mode. Steady B grew up in the Hilltop area, but like many others I done made videos on, B had hip hop surrounding him his whole life. And I'm talking about this go back to elementary school. This where everything started. All the way back in elementary, he started freestyling. And over the years, he would only get better. And by the time I got to high school, he was having rap battles at lunch. He even went to school with someone we all know, Will Smith, and they ended up getting into a rap battle. But his high school years will become real important because that's where he came up with the name Steady B. But Steady B rapping would change all their lives for both good and bad. At first, Cool C was running with Steady B and a rap crew that went by the name Hilltop Hustlers. You can see Steady grew up in the Hilltop area. They got the name Hilltop Hustlers. And after being with Steady for all these years, it eventually rubbed off on him. And he dropped his first single in 1987. Crazy part is, his first track was a diss. He was dissing another hip hop crew that was from New York. It was ran by Marley Marl. But Cool C life started changing real quick. Cause just a year after dropping his first song, he dropped 2 albums, but one of these albums will have a standout song. His first album, I Got a Habit, with the song Glamorous Life, which had the whole city in a chokehold. And this album was the one that ended up getting him signed. And you know how labels get, they pushed him to drop a second tape, but this one ain't do as good as the first. It did so bad that bro ended up getting dropped off the label. And for a few years after this, he just went quiet until 1992. This was things started to change a little bit. He joined another group that went by the name CEB. But when this group dropped their first album, Counting Endless Bank, in 1993, it flopped. I'm talking about the sales was horrible. And I guess it got to their head because the group never dropped another album. But over the next few years, Cool C life would turn to hell. After that album flop, Cool C just stepped away from music. But all that changed when 1996 came around. Cool C had a lot planned this year, cause around the start of 1996, end of 95, he was in the studio again recording music. Him and Steady B was planning a comeback. But January 2nd, 1996 is when him and Steady B life was gonna change forever. North Philly PNC Bank just opened up. And the bank manager came through. He was just opening up, doing his job, doing his day to day. And while he was going to open the door, he seen 2 dudes standing there talking, who was dressed up in construction outfits. So big bro ain't even think nothing about it. But this where the bank messed up. So they didn't have no security and had bro opening this bank by himself. So it was only a matter of time before somebody tried something. The second that manager opened that door, the 2 men who he thought was just construction workers rushed him. They ran in, threw bro on the floor, and had 2 scraps pointed at his back, a 9mm and a 380. And one of the men forced him to take him to the vault. But where everything went wrong is when these niggas set off the silent alarm. I don't know what they was expecting, but that went off. Think about it. They failed playing as soon as it started, and they ain't even have a clue. But right as the silent alarm went off, it was a cop riding by in the area. And when she got alerted about what was going on, she pulled up. She started walking up to the bank trying to be quiet, but the other robber was ready. As soon as he seen her, he ain't even hesitate. He let 1 shot go and it went straight through her heart. But the thing is, she came alone. But soon after she pulled up, another cop came. And when he came, there was a whole shootout at the bank. All this shooting made everybody panic though. Both the robbers dropped their scraps and fled to the getaway V, which had their driver in it on go. But the problems don't stop there. The woman who got shot did pass away and was the first female cop ever in Philly to die on the job. And when this happened, it was everywhere. It was on the news right away. And her parents found out she passed away on the news while they was in another bank. But it ain't take long for the cops to find these 3 criminals. After being on the run for 3 days trying to hide in alleys in different parts of the city and just trying to stay out the way, they eventually got caught and identified. McGlone was the first to get locked up, and he gave the cops the drop on his other 2 partners. But the last one didn't get arrested until weeks later. But like I said, when they got locked up, they was all identified. Christopher Ronnie, who we know was Cool C, Warren Spear McGlone, who we know as Steady B, and Mark Kenny, who we ain't know up until this point, was brought on as an associate. Steady B was the first to get arrested and was the one who ratted on the other two. Cool C turned himself in right around the time Steady got locked up and had his mama lying for him, saying that he was in the crib with her eating breakfast when everything went down. But the thing is, when he did turn himself in, he had his lawyer on his side. But when they got there, 12 found out this wasn't the first robbery the group done did. This was just the first one to go bad. But when C walked in with his lawyer, he ain't even let the feds speak to him. But the third ain't get arrested until weeks later, like I said. But within them weeks, 12 had the funeral for the cop that got killed during the robbery. Her funeral hit the city hall. They had hundreds of people out there, politicians, officers, just regular people. Everybody was out there. The whole city was holding that officer down. I ain't said it yet, but rest in peace to her. Crazy what money do to people. She ain't deserved to die. She was just doing her job. But when she did pass, she ended up leaving behind a few kids. And even they had got on interviews, sharing their thoughts and talking down on the two. But when the news came out, Philly was looking at Steady and Cool C crazy. They thought the two was really getting some pay. Like, think about it. There was these rappers with names and deals and hits under their name. People thought they was up. People thought they was having bread for real. So for them to rob a bank made the people of Philly realize they was just fronting. In reality though, their lives was done as soon as they got caught. Steady B and Mark got hit with life sentences and second-degree murder. But it was all different for Cool C. He was the one who killed the cop and they hit him hard. They hit Cool C with a death sentence. And this right here had the whole hip hop game talking.
See, I told you, that was number 19, Cool C. We went back, right? Cool C straight out of Philly. You know what I mean? He's right now incarcerated because life throws us curveballs and you never know where you're gonna end up, man, you know, but condolences to that whole situation with the people who was lost and all of that for the reasons he's on death row. You know, we don't want the kids to end up there, but it just shows you this hip-hop thing's been around for a long time. And Cool C, who kind of borrowed his style, I feel, from my man MC Shan a little bit, but he put it down with Steady B and all of them out there, and as you can see, they was big balling for back in the days, man. So big up to the whole hip-hop generation. I told you we're gonna go through it.
After the rap game felt how they felt about the situation, the duo really disappeared. After getting locked up, people just forgot about the duo until the early 2000s. Journalists seen his name get brought up again when his execution got delayed, and that made them start wondering. So they sent in a letter to Cool C while he was in prison, and when C got it, he answered every question that was on there. But before they could run the interview, they got a cease and desist saying they can't run. So we'll never know what was said on that paper. We'll never know what Cool C wrote down. But Cool C's name wasn't brought up again until about 2014, when it was time for his new execution date, January 6, 2015. But in December of 2014, he got a second stay from the judge. At this point, C had been on death row for over 2 decades. And the one who sent that letter said from what C had put on that letter, they felt like bro matured and grew up. I'm not gonna lie, this gotta be one of the craziest stories I ever told on here. Rest in peace to the cop. I don't got respect for none of them niggas. They was in the room. They had an opportunity of being rappers. They threw it away and went to go rob banks and kill some women who really ain't even deserve to die. Just think about how it was at the time. These two supposed to be putting on for the city. People looked at them like they was real rappers, like they was getting to the bag. But in reality, they didn't have nothing going on, and they threw their lives away over a bag they could have caught from the rap game.